right, so do you need to do cardio to lose weight? Is cardio a waste of time? Stick around. This is Ryan over at High Carb Regenerator. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to review this Philip Ovadia interview that he did. Talking about cardio. He talks about a couple other things. Kind of an interesting interview, so I'm going to link it down below so you can watch it yourself if you feel like it. Anyway, let's get to the video. All right, so let's see what this guy has to say. I'm probably going to tend to agree with him. I don't think it's the most effective thing to lose weight by doing, cardio is not the most effective way to lose weight. So we'll see what he says. I have not watched anything of this. I am going to mute it because they play the music and whatnot. So let's get rolling. Cardio is not effective for weight loss. So I'm just going to let the music that I have kind of play in the background while we watch this. Is a huge number. It said 88 or 80 or 88% of adults are not healthy, and it doesn't surprise me.
You're not just giving advice.
Before I get started, like always, I'll try. I think I forgot the last time. I'll try to remember to link this down in the description section so you can go watch the whole thing if you're interested. But if not, don't click on it.
That's right. As a medical professional, you're also giving medicine. What's your perspective on medicine and how has that evolved as you've learned more?
I think if you look at medicine and what it used to be, it used to actually cure something. Now medicine is just drugs to keep it, whatever's going on with you masked enough that you stay alive to keep coming back, but you don't die, because if you're dead, you don't make a ton of money for them anymore. Unless, it was during 2020 and they got a $35,000 payout for each death in 2020 if a certain thing happened. But other than that, it's kind of a shit show.
About what I guess you define as metabolic health.
Yeah, I think my view now is that medicines should be necessary a lot less often than we use them.
Totally. I mean, despite all the, I don't get a ton, but despite, some of the hate or whatever that I get in the comments section or whatever you want to call it, I'm on no medications. I really don't have high blood pressure. Sometimes I do if my lymphatic is off or if my hydration is off. But other than that, it's always normal. And I have no issues.
When we look at our health, we shouldn't really have the baseline assumption that we have today that if someone's in poor health, it's because they're lacking medicine. It's because we haven't figured out the right treatment for them. Usually pharmaceutical-based treatments, maybe it's going to be a procedure or surgery. But there's almost a sort of assumption built into that, that the human body is destined to become ill.
Yeah, you hear it. You hear people bragging about it. I don't really go on Facebook anymore. I never really did. But when I did, you see family members or friends are kind of bragging about like, oh, I got cancer. I'm going to beat it this time. Or, I got the heart attack. I had a heart attack. Fourth one, I'm going to go get another bypass today. But I'll be at work later on. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
That we're destined to develop.
Like, they got rallies around it. They got, like, I don't know if they're still around with the bracelet thing. I mean, when you look at him, it's just like, it is such a machine now. It's just so crazy. It's a machine, dude.
These problems, and that the only way that we are going to be able to manage and head off these problems is by advancing science, by coming up with more pharmaceuticals and more surgeries to treat the problems, instead of considering the fact that it might be something we are doing to ourselves.
There's a book in
It doesn't help that they're painting our skies. If you, like, it should be completely sunny right now, but it's hazy. Why is it hazy? I don't know. And it's weird because I live 5, maybe 6 miles from like a major airport. 97% of the planes that take off have nothing coming out of the exhaust. But that 3%, why do they have them? I just, it's weird. Are they malfunctioning? And then shortly after these malfunctions of these planes, the sky is kind of like you can't see the sun anymore. It's weird. And it's even stranger that Bill Gates was talking about wanting to do this like last year. It's like coincidental.
in front of me that says Stay Off My Operating Table by Philip Ovadia. Why did you decide to write this book? What was your mission?
Yeah, I wrote the book because I struggled to find this information. I, as a heart surgeon, I, as a doctor, I, as someone...
Isn't that Stephen Gundry, a heart surgeon, who tells you to drink a liter of oil, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil a day? So, not always the best company.
In the medical system that is supposed to be built around making people healthy and keeping people healthy, struggled to figure out the information that's in that book.
When you say healthy, what is healthy? Like, how does a doctor like you characterize health?
So I define health today as our bodies working the way they should. I talk about metabolic health in the book.
What's that?
And the way that I define metabolic health is that our bodies are properly utilizing the inputs that we are giving it. And the primary input that we give our bodies is the food that we eat. And so when we eat, one of three things is really supposed to happen to that food.
It's vibrational too. Everything has vibration. We are vibrating creatures. And the less electricity that there is in a food, the less electric you are. So, the more fruits and vegetables, especially raw, that you eat, the more electric you're going to be.
Some of it gets turned immediately into energy for us to fuel all of the activities throughout our day. Some of it gets broken down so that we can build and rebuild the tissues in our bodies, processes that are always going on. And then a little of it is supposed to be stored for times when energy is not available. And what has happened in our modern environment is that system has broken down. And we end up storing too much of the energy.
It's been metabolically damaged.
And we end up not being able to ever use that stored energy. And
that's some of the things that I still deal with to this day. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That has a whole host of downstream problems that it creates. And these are things like heart disease that I treat every day. These are things like diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's disease. All of these chronic issues that we see becoming so common in our society today.
You're a heart doctor.
Congratulations. I mean, let's give this guy a medal, man. He really figured that one out.
What's been the most emotionally challenging day of your career as a heart doctor?
What's with this emotional? Come on, man. All right, let's hardest day as a heart surgeon. Oh, here we go. Lots of people are skinny fat. Here we go. Because one of the main comments that I get on here, or the consistency, is that if you are skinny, you are healthy, and it's such nonsense.
Healthy.
You talk about this concept of being skinny fat.
You see that all the time, all the time.
I think my friend called me that one day when he was trying to insult me a couple of years ago. What does skinny fat mean? What is that?
Yeah, so skinny fat, it will oftentimes be referred to as tofu, thin on the outside and fat on the inside. And what that really means is that we have internal fat around our organs, specifically in our abdomen, around our liver, around our pancreas, around our kidneys, that may not be obvious from the outside. Many of us kind of know what this looks like. Someone who's got skinny arms and skinny legs, not a lot of muscle, but they have a little bit of the...
Yeah, we see it all the time. That has to be more unhealthy than a fat person that's like at least legitimately eating correctly and like finally on the path of not being diseased.
Pouch in the middle, that is skinny fat. And again, unless you're measuring it, unless you're looking for it specifically, you might not pick up on that. And it is a big problem. Many people, hypothesize that actually getting fat, getting obese on the outside is a protective mechanism. Because it's really when you get fat on the inside that we see the damage.
You are done for. I'm sure I have some of it, but yeah.
Start to occur. Things like diabetes, things like diabetes. These really start to manifest when you get fat on the inside.
So do you think being skinny fat is worse from a metabolic health standpoint than being fat on the outside?
It very well can be. And oftentimes the problem with the people...
I would 100% agree. 100% agree. Maybe because I'm the latter. But those are the people that you see on 30 medications, like a lot at a time. Or, like you go over their house and they get like this entire like industrial size Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever those things are called for their pills, industrial pill, whatever it is. And I'm like, damn, you would think that it would be the reverse, but it's not.
Who are skinny fat is they don't get picked up on until we're much later in the process, until they're much sicker. So that's one of the issues with being skinny fat.
And one would only know if they were skinny fat really by going and getting some of those key metabolic health markers checked in terms of their triglycerides, their blood glucose levels, etc.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't see or that.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm trying to be in that 12% that of people that are...
Okay, so it was 88% that are not healthy.
Metabolically healthy and that meet at least all 5 of the criteria for metabolic health. I've had so many guests on this podcast recently that have talked to different diets, the carnivore diet, keto, we've talked about the Mediterranean diet, a gluten-free diet.
It's weird because if you go like to places in the Mediterranean, they don't even eat that way. It's just such a marketing thing. I remember I used to work with this woman from Lebanon, and she was just cracking up. Somebody had happened to bring the Mediterranean diet into the bank one day where I was working, and we were looking at it, and she was cracking up because she used to go to Lebanon a lot. But then, I met other people from that region, and they're just like, yeah, we don't eat like that.
Vegetarian, veganism, it's a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot, and my question to you, and I know this isn't necessarily an easy question to answer, but what is the diet that's going to avoid my metabolic health breaking down, going to keep me off your operating table, and keep my health?
My guess, everything in moderation. As if somebody who is addicted, has an addictive personality, can actually do moderate. They can't. It's not possible.
Intact.
But I could be wrong.
Which diet shall I go for, Dr. Philip?
Yeah, so, I go into it in the book, and what I really tried to look at was what are the common things amongst all those diets that will keep people metabolically healthy or make people metabolically healthy.
Elimination is the key.
And really it comes down to eating whole, real food. Elimination of processed food, I think, is the most important step if you want to get metabolically healthy and remain metabolically healthy. And within that framework, there are lots of different possibilities. Some people have great success as a carnivore. Some people have success as vegans. You can do keto, you can do Mediterranean, you can do paleo, you can do lots of things in between. But when you really look at what is the one commonality that we can point to that will predict the best success of being metabolically healthy, it's eating real food, eating whole real food.
Wasn't expecting that.
What is whole
But there's nothing whole about animal. You're still cutting it up. So, I don't know.
real food?
Yeah, great question, because
Is it?
sometimes it's hard to tell these days.
Yeah.
So the rule that the kind of rule that I give people around eating whole real food is eat the things that grow in the ground and eat the things that eat the things that grow in the ground. So these are going to be your plant products and these are going to be your animal products.
So you're pro animal products?
I am very pro animal products.
Maybe that's why he's bald.
I actually think that when you look at the balance between the two, you're probably better off eating more animal products
Ooh.
than more plant products. And again, that's something that goes very counter the mainstream narrative.
What is everybody on his program like keto? What? Wow.
Understand that as human beings, we evolved eating animals. We evolved.
Then why do the people who eat more animals end up in the hospital more? Why does, when the Chinese go from the standard diet that they used to eat, which was like 90% rice and vegetables, to adding Western food, they go to the hospital more? Why, when the Japanese or the South American or whatever adopt more meat, they go to the hospital? Damn.
Eating meat. Our bodies are uniquely designed to process that meat.
Oh, there's another shill. Another shill. Why? Why can't, I mean, is anybody real anymore? I don't even know if I want to watch this one. I don't even know. This could be trigger warning here.
Oh, cost. In your medical practice, have you seen any recurring trends based on people that have consumed?
Now, the one thing that the problem with the vegan diet, is people will eat Oreos and Ruffles potato chips and say that they're vegan. They're not hurting the animals anymore, but you're hurting yourself, but you're not hurting the animals anymore. So there is that.
The vegan diet.
Yeah, so I think a well-constructed vegan diet, what probably should be better called a whole food plant-based diet, is a significant improvement over the Western diet, over the standard American diet.
The standard American diet states that you eat that animal and put cheese on it. This is it. This is the rule. This is the rule book, FDA rule book 101. If it doesn't have cheese on it, it's not real meal.
Over a diet with a lot of processed food. And that's really what you see when you look
when I'm talking about standard Western, whatever, standard American diet, I'm not talking about whatever they eat in Europe. Some of that stuff looks even stranger than the stuff that we see here.
Scientific.
I mean, who eats snails and stuff like that? Like, who thinks it is?
Literature around vegan diets. It's an improvement over the standard American diet.
$40 a pound, here you go.
But it's not necessarily optimal, and especially over the long term. So the story that I see on a recurring basis is that someone will really not be paying attention to what they're eating. They'll just be eating the food that's around them, the standard Western diet. And they'll be in poor health because of that. And they'll decide to make a change. And because there's a lot of messaging around it, oftentimes a vegan diet is going to be the first one that they try. And they're going to
no. The first one they're going to try is carnivore or keto, because that's what's being pushed.
Feel better initially. They're going to improve their health initially. Their metabolic health markers will improve. Over the long run, it becomes fairly difficult to maintain a good vegan diet. You have to be supplementing. There are certain essential.
The supplement industry would not exist if it weren't for vegans, apparently. That 1% of the population, if that, is the only reason. Now, supplements, I know they were around back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. I know they were. but they were just getting ready for the vegans. They just knew that the vegans were coming. Like, look, these idiots are just going to only eat plants. We got to get set up. We got to start making that money. And we got to have a real strong base, even though most of those companies aren't around anymore. Just because these vegans, man, they're going to need it. And it's just the same thing that you hear about the dentistry. Dentistry was only invented because vegans was going to happen. That's the reason. It's supplements. The only reason it's around. Nobody else but the vegans really need it. Nobody.
Essential nutrients that we cannot get from plants. And no one argues
like what?
that. The vegans don't argue it. They just say, okay, I'm going to take my supplements. It's hard to get the right amount and the right balance of proteins and amino acids from plants. And again,
the amino acids. There we go with that.
If you're supplementing, you can do it. So the people that I see having long-term success on vegan.
Man, this he's going to talk about the truth about supplements. All right, I'm going to watch this a little bit. So here we go again with doctors talking about how terrible vegan is, that you can't get all your stuff from vegan, that you're going to be on supplements the rest of your life. Your teeth are going to fall out. You're not going to have, like any sex life. You're not, whatever they're going to say. It's just getting absolutely out of hand. I have a lot of people on this channel that have been vegan or plant-based or whatever for, a long time, and they don't have any of these issues. So I don't know where all this is coming from. I guess this is the newest attack on being vegan because they want you on this keto life. But anyway, let's go back to the thing here. You can watch this cringe fest by yourself for the rest of it if you want.
Number 4,
I'll try to
of your
remember
7
the links down.
principles for metabolic health is about exercise.
Thanks.
In the book, if I remember correctly, you say that exercise isn't the best approach, isn't the only approach one should consider when thinking about dropping weight and reducing waist size. A lot of people might be surprised by that.
Yeah, so some of the concepts that I talk about in the book around exercise, the way I phrase it is I want you to get more activity. One of the mistakes that I see people making
I gotta agree with
is that they focus on doing periods of exercise. They say, I'm going to go to the gym and work out for an hour. I'm going to go run for an hour. And they don't pay attention to getting enough activity throughout the rest of their day.
But they got to go to work, man.
So I try to get people to refocus on just getting more activity throughout your day.
I got to agree with that.
And then when it comes to your exercise and your metabolic health, the most important
the one
part
that requires you to eat animals. Nobody but vegan supplements. Nobody. Just us. Even though I don't even take supplements.
Building metabolic health through exercise is going to be building and maintaining your muscle. Muscle is very unique when it comes to our metabolic health. Muscle is metabolically active throughout your day. And so when you focus on building and maintaining muscle, it's going to better support your health, your metabolic health, than if we're just trying to do the cardio exercise and burning the extra calories during that time that we are exercising.
Because you say here on page 72.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, does that mean everybody's got to go to the gym and lift? No, I don't think so. Maybe Planet Fitness hired this guy. Maybe that's the thing.
In mind that research shows cardio,
just go to the gym, do your basics, have activity.
Is an unreliable tactic for fat loss. That's a shock to most people because we've been taught that cardio is everything.
Right. So when we look at the science around cardio, chronic cardio exercise, what most people think of as jogging or running at the gym, we see that it doesn't help for weight loss.
Mm-mm. If your diet's shit, unless there's the extremes, the guys that are the women that run ultra marathons and eat nothing but pizza, or like the guys that are women that ride like 4 or 5 hours a day, you pretty much can eat whatever you want, but you're going to be skinny fat probably.
Doesn't help for fat loss. And that's why I don't want
within reason. What this guy's saying.
People to focus on cardio. And, you know, when we look at the macro level of this, we have more gyms today than we ever have. People spend more time at the gyms doing cardio than they ever have.
It sucks too. It sucks. I miss the gym days back in the day. Like, I miss the gyms back in the day. You didn't have to wear like matching outfits, like a tracksuit that matches everything. You didn't have to have like the perfect gym bag. You didn't have to have the perfect stuff. It's so ridiculous. It's so commercial. It's so obnoxious. People ask me why I don't coach anymore. I am not all about that life. I'm not about that life. It's just, if you got to match, if you got to do this, if you got to do, I just like it. Like, nope.
And yet we have a worse obesity problem than we ever have.
And it's crazy too, because there's more keto and carnivore now. It can't relate though. This is coincidence.
So cardio,
you know, it's like meat's more available than it was when I was growing up. People were skinnier and lived longer. Now keto is available and there's more meat and there's more fat people. I don't know. It's probably coincidence. Probably
is not effective for weight loss. Science is pretty clear on that.
Science.
Doesn't mean that cardio doesn't have benefits. And I'm not telling people stop all.
Science also used to say that smoking was healthy and it would keep your lungs from cancer. So can we always trust it? I don't know.
The cardio that you're doing. I just don't want people to think that only by doing cardio are they going to be able to lose weight.
There's this baking championship. I don't really give Netflix money anymore, so I haven't been able to see it. But there's this baking championship, something from England, and there was this woman that was so annoying. She used to say, "And science is going to do everything. Science." And I was so happy when she was kicked off. I was like, if she wins this, I'm never watching this show again.
And lose fat and have long-term success around that.
Like every 3 minutes.
I think that surprises people because, you know, when I do cardio, I sweat.
Yep.
This guy knew that who he was interviewing was a cardiologist or whatever doctor. And he knows that he sweats when he does cardio. I mean, this guy is on point, boy.
It feels like the fat is melting and it's pouring off my skin. So I'm like, you know, I must be losing weight.
Right.
So it seems like a bit of a head spin that's not helping me lose weight. Why isn't it helping me lose weight?
Yeah, there are two reasons that it doesn't help you lose weight. Number one is for most people, after they do a lot of cardio, they get hungry and they eat more.
Ooh,
so they kind of counterbalance whatever extra calories they may have burnt off doing the cardio.
But after you lift, you're never hungry. Speaking from somebody who lifted for a good portion of his life, when you lift, dude, you are never hungry afterwards. It's like you just can't. You force feed yourself at best.
Is that inbuilt or is that just?
And if you increase your activity during the day, I mean, you just can't eat. You can't eat. It's like starvation nation. You don't even need Wegovy anymore if you do any activity.
You know, is that the brain?
I think it is. I think it's our body's sort of homeostatic mechanism.
No, it's like, I'm hungry. I'm stupid, though. I'm stupid. So I'm so stupid that I want food.
The other problem with, you know, thinking you're going to lose weight just by doing cardio is it's really relying on the calories in, calories out model. So again, the underlying assumption there is that if we just burn more calories, that will compensate for the extra calories that we've been eating. And again,
I feel like he just contradicted himself within this like little realm of the statement. I could be wrong.
Again, we see that doesn't work over and over again. We know that our body actually adjusts the amount of calories that it burns. And if you go and you do that hour at the gym, during that hour, you're going to have burnt more calories. But during the other 23 hours of the day, your body is actually going to burn less calories to make up for that.
Now, I do want to point out the fact that mobility is really key and crucial to the body, and the lymphatic system does not drain itself. So if you're going to just sit around sedentarily and then go lift weights, it's not going to work. You know, you're going to have some kind of activity to pump out the lymphatic system, which is why I've got a rebounder. You can go walking, you could go hiking, you can go do whatever, and it may take a little while. So, you know, you might want to actually have like a half-hour plan to go walk or something like that every other day or every day or whatever you can, you know, manage to do. It's just some of the advice from this guy is a little scary. And I don't think that you necessarily need to go weights to put muscle on. Like rebounding, I know has helped a lot of people. So that's something, you know, if you want to check it out, I got a Cellar Sizer link down below. Go check it out. I think rebounding is actually more beneficial maybe than weightlifting, especially these days with how crazy some of the gyms are. But anyway, I'm going to let you get back to it.
Well,
I would agree with that.
That's bad
Now that I've done hating on everybody.
news, isn't it?
That is bad news. And you know, the extra point there is when we build muscle burns more calories.
But it doesn't cause hunger. Doesn't cause hunger. You do not get more hungry. Oh. I don't understand why people like the Strava thing.
The day. So that's the other reason that the focus on muscle building is really the most effective way to exercise your way to weight loss.
So, okay, so wait.
I feel like this guy is reading off a card that Keto Central sent. And like, he's not doing a very good convincing job. I could be wrong though. You know, I'm probably wrong about that one. Anyway, I think I'm going to end it here. So I'm going to send you back out of the... All right. So that's it. I don't know. Hopefully you learned something in this video. You know, some of the stuff was actually surprising to me that he's actually pushing the keto carnivore like type diet. It's just like one after the other after the other. They're all kind of saying the same thing. They're all kind of like looking at cue cards or something like that. I don't know. They're all just, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And I just... It's hard to watch. It really is hard to watch. But anyway, if you like the video or whatever kind of questions you might have, comments, questions down below, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. And you know what? I might show a little bit a clip of a guy who's actually in really good shape and he's not Durian Rider. So I might show a little clip of that.
Me, just the way I walk around all the time. Okay, like I've said before, 6-pack, if I wanted one, I could do some sit-ups. Not particularly bothered about that or anything. But this is my walking around weight, mass, whatever you want to call it, and that all comes predominantly from diet and lifestyle. Okay, guys, and I eat all year round a low-fat diet. Okay, so 0 animal fats in there whatsoever for me. Okay, very low saturated fat, very low fat content. Okay, so whether you're vegan, vegetarian, following sort of a more standard diet. Okay, the key thing is to eat low-fat diet. Okay, so
and if you want to know about like the glucose goddess, I did a review of that, so check that out down below. And I'll also leave a playlist. Check those videos out. See you in the next one.